OGs and young gods, OGs and young gods.
I know you guys are probably asking yourselves, who gave this nigga the right to write a Bible? But if we all look past the lies and false teachings of the men that portray themselves to be the powers that be and seek the truth, our lives just as well as all that lives, lives are Bible.
OGs and young gods, OGs and young gods, OGs and young gods.
No matter what man-made religion we believe in, just being true to thy Lord within ourselves will bring us peace. It's gonna be alright, cause in hell, we can't win the war between good and evil without being truthful to the powers that be.
OGs and young gods, OGs and young gods, OGs and young gods.
Hood, hierarchy, mob pad. Every single episode, man, we gonna give them a little background.
I know how I feel because I done been through that 1,000 times.
Lovely ghetto you, beautiful ghetto you, sweet ghetto
We made so much doing that. I started taking that money throwing the concerts.
It's your boy, Project Pata. Hood hierarchy, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, look, man, if it ain't in the hood, man, it ain't on here.
Hey, this your boy Mario Cannon, man. You rocking with Hood Hierarchy. You already know what's going down.
I've seen Pretty P stand up. It's a wrap. Tune in.
It's Deli Dale. And whenever I got time and I'm relaxing and I'm chilling, I don't give a damn if I'm laying in the bed with you. I'm checking out Hood Hierarchy. And it's just that simple, just that easy.
It's 7 Up, man, straight from Brooklyn. I want y'all to check my boy out, Uncle Beast, Hood Hierarchy. The dopest interviews, the dopest content, the dopest platform, straight from Chi-Town, man. You know what it is, man. We representing Uncle Beast, Hood Hierarchy. That's the highest of prestige. Get it? You already know. That's on game. You heard?
One was saying this the one on the HD president, Mr. Bow Bow Bow. This is Hood Hierarchy checking in. I'm signing out. HD4, bow, bow, bow.
I'm booked and I'm busy. Yeah, I'm booked and I'm busy. Yeah, I'm busy. About my money and not too many. Can't get with me. Stick to my lonely. Stick to my homies. Cause I ain't friendly. Ain't no gimme. I pull it out the mud. Before I give it to you quick, ain't no showing love. I'm booked and I'm busy.
Yeah, I'm booked. Damn so busy. Schedule paper money, run it up.
F&G shit. Shot the whole day, go shot the bro Trey Boogie, we sliding. Sliding in the rental, trying to run the milli up. In the southeast, Trey Boogie been a plug. Rubber bands on the blues, hella panoramic views. If you get into it with the squad, you can never lose. It's on the flow like Yellow Rider. I got your vibe on her toes like nail polish. In the city, we get respected from everybody. You about to pull up on Trey Boogie, now let's chop it. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Got it wet, it's not a cut. Ain't worried about what nobody else got, cause I got enough. Me and Trey Boogie locked in, he threw a lob, I dunked. Heard the beat and sauced it up, can't nobody go hard as us. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up.
yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. As your big homie Trey Boogie, and this is the Friday night chop up. You know, we talk about mental health and physical health issues and more. You know, my update for y'all this week, I don't really have one. It's still the same thing, man. We'll find out more in September. The update is, I guess I could say, I'm feeling much better each week, doing much better each week, still on everything I said I was going to be doing, you know, walking, working out, school. Everything's good for now, you know. Ain't no, if you know me, you know I don't just quit. Never that. So, you know, I'm still here and we still doing it. And like always, come over to YouTube if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, and Kick. I just started on Kick. I don't know nothing about it, but we're on Kick. If you're watching on there, come on over to the YouTube also. Today, we have two guests, right? One I'm known, man, since I'm gonna say this. One I'm known before the Army, and the other one since the Army, right? So they are two important people in me. They know me, and I know them, and we're family, and they're knowledgeable on these topics we're going to be talking about today, which is PTSD and depression. So I'm gonna introduce the first guest, and I'll bring up the other one. I'm gonna bring up my homegirl. You know, that's my buddy, man. Like, she was the dopest female athlete in high school. You know, when she got hurt, I was there with her during the time. We played basketball still, you know, in the front of her house and stuff. Like, it's my buddy. This is my buddy right here. Very special person, a very knowledgeable person. Allow me to introduce some and present the others. I'm gonna bring her up. Christy, come on. I forgot the Aphrodite. I forgot the Aphrodite.
Because you're too legit. Too legit to quit. Hey. Oh my God. I love you so much. And I am just so proud of you following your heart and doing what you love and getting out there, sharing your story, helping others. And did I say I love you?
Yes. Yeah. Hey, love you too. Love you too. And, you know, I learned from the best, you know. You're an OG, triple X OG in this. So, you know, you was doing it before anyone else I knew was doing it. So.
That's when they used to call me crazy, but now they're like, oh, not so crazy anymore.
That's right. And now I'm gonna bring the other guests up, and then we'll go from there. You know, this brother, you know me from the Army days, after the Army days when I was just Trey, DJ Let Loose, way in a spot called Watertown, New York, right by Canada. It's the TJ in San Diego to upstate New York, because they're right by the border too. You know, this brother been in, he may still be in the Army. I don't think he ever wanted. I think he did like 58 years in the Army. Hey, this is my buddy right here, my family, man, my bro. Allow me to introduce. Y'all seen him on here before. My man Nixon. What's up, brother?
Yo, what's good, man?
Yes. You know, my life. This is my life right here. Two different when I was a teenager, you know, and then from a young man to now. Y'all both, we still all talk. You know, I talk to each one of y'all still, you know, and I know your journeys. So it was just a beautiful thing to be able to have both of y'all on here and discuss some things. But Christy, go ahead and let them know who you are. I call it the elevator pitch, you know, a 2-minute, you know, intro of who you are. Yeah, the elevator pitch. You know, elevators is quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let them know.
Okay.
Go ahead, Christy.
I don't really. Okay, hi.
On the spot.
I'm Aphrodite, formerly known as that crazy person. And these topics that you have been addressing are obviously very near and dear to my heart. I spent over a decade in radio. trying to share my journey and what I had learned. So if experience means anything, I'm kind of an expert in depression and PTSD. It is not to take away from anybody else's trauma or anything like that, but I was able to turn my life from literally begging God to kill me or trying to pay other people to kill me to now living the life of my dreams. And I am the creator of Ozark's Church of Nature and Magical Food Forest, where it's basically the Noah's Ark of plants. I teach, have events, I have hundreds of medicinal herbs growing that I grow, harvest, do all myself, turn them into a bunch of products, essential oils, healing oils, skincare, etc. And that's it. Just doing what my purpose, what my soul told me to do. Thankfully, life after death for me.
That's right. That's right.
And blessed to be here. Thank you.
And K9, I see you on here, man. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. I'll hit you later. You have a watcher, Christy. Savannah Vickers.
What up?
Again, if you guys are on Facebook or Instagram or Kick, come on over to the YouTube, please. Come on over to the YouTube. You know, my next guest, I already said what I said, but I'm going to have him give his elevator pitch before we get into this.
Elevator pitch?
Elevator pitch. We just went through
Gotcha.
this.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to hear myself say it, repetitively. Well, first and foremost, shout out to you, Christy, for, elevating yourself and making the necessary changes in your life to be better and do better. As my man Trey Boogie say, I'm Nixon. I've known him since the early 90s. Like we're really close, like our kids are related. That's how close we are. We've been through some tough times, through life, dealing with life and the depressions of things that go through life. And, I'm thankful to be here. I didn't do 58 years in the Army.
Just about.
But 15. And
15, 58.
Big difference. So the discussion of, the talk about PTSD and depression, it's relevant, and it's something that needs more airtime. It needs to be spoken about abroad because it affects everybody in a lot of ways, whether it be the individual himself or herself or through loved ones. But everyone deals with it or have to deal with it. So then speaking about it and speaking to someone about it only makes you better.
That's right. That's right. And big up Mo Swagger. I appreciate you, bro. Big love to Mo Swagger. Family. So yeah, it's a trip though. I was saying earlier, I've known Christy through up to high school and then the Army. And so basically early 90s, we graduated in 1990. So it was just a few years after graduating, me and this man met. We were young men then,
You're talking about I'm still young.
I was like 20, I'm 25 now. So it was, in the early 90s, just, like my man Beat say, I'm 25. But yeah, depression. But yeah, I wanted to, talk about a couple bullet points about, we talking about depression first, y'all. All in the comments. I see y'all. See you on Instagram. Please come over to the YouTube. I can't see y'all on Kick, but if you watching, come on over to YouTube. But yeah, I want to read about depression real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Depression is more than just feeling sad or having a bad day. It's a serious mental health condition that affects how a person feels, thinks, and functions in daily life. Um, a lot of people think of, and I say it all the time, you're dealing with something that doesn't make you weak. You know, you're dealing with it, so you're actually stronger than you think. You know, and depression could cause emotional symptoms, persistent sadness, hopelessness, emptiness. Have you feeling numb. Mess with your concentration. You're indecisive. Your thinking is off. It plays a lot with you. You could change. It changes you. You know, you lose interest in some things. Activities, places, things you used to love, and you just want to be by yourself, isolated sometimes. Um, and it hit everyone. That's why I like to talk about it, because a lot of us men don't like to talk about what we go through, and especially, the brothers. We don't talk about this type of stuff, especially around other brothers. So I love that, I got the platform now, running on the Fridays, to bring this to attention and what I'm going through. Just be totally transparent, right? Because it helps me. I say it only helps you guys watching. It helps me doing this podcast. So, what I was just talking about depression, Christy. What what you think about it?
I have a lot to say. Is this the elevator clip
You got
or?
you got time. You got time.
All right. So I will just say, and like Trey was there when I was like trying to kill myself as a teenager, afterwards, and then even back in San Diego when I was going through some stuff. So I absolutely agree with you that it affects everybody. And I applaud you for being brave enough as a man to bring this topic out there, more people can talk about. But I do want to say depression is much bigger than what you shared as far
Oh yeah.
as loss of concentration, mental. It also causes physical dis-ease. And so what I'm blessed to help people with now, thankfully, after finding my own way, right, is that everything that happens physically first happened spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And the way I look at depression is we might need some deep rest, or maybe we have some deep pressed emotion that society tells us not to talk about, not to share. Take this magic little pill and numb it all away. But that clearly that's not working. Look at society, right? So we do need safe places for people to be able to speak these things. And for me, I was fighting it, right? But I was fighting it the so-called traditional way or the clinical way. But it wasn't until I became disabled, could not walk or talk. And yeah, it sounds tragic now. And but I am so thankful for that, because when you can't do anything, you literally have only yourself and God. So that gave me the opportunity to figure out, discover who I really am and what the heck I'm doing here. So society has these playlists on how we're supposed to be. You're a certain gender, you're supposed to look like this, you're supposed to act like this, you're supposed to have this job, have this house, do the, all of these things that just wasn't fitting. And of course, I wanted my parents to love me. I wanted my teachers to give me A's. I wanted to do all of these things, but I didn't realize until much later, when I literally couldn't walk and talk, that that wasn't my way. And I see how so many people are trying to be what society or their loved ones or somebody wants them to be, look, act, smell, taste, all of that. And that's a sure route straight to hell or depression or anxiety.
Yep.
And the way I look at it now is basically if we're feeling like anxious or depressed, it's because we're not listening to God. We are saying, nope, sorry, I know better. I'm in this society, so I'm going to live for somebody else that really doesn't even care about me, right? Your teachers don't care. Your politicians don't care. They don't care. So it wasn't until I was literally lost every 6.5 years of homelessness, no income, like Trey gave me a couch to sleep on,
Dang.
but other than that, there wasn't a lot of support. And again, sounds tragic because everybody wants their bestie or their family or people to support them and cheer them on. But a lot of our paths don't include that. In fact, I would dare to say that most of our path is trying to fit into somebody else's path. So until we realize that, okay, that's cool. You're great, you're good, that works for you, but not necessarily for me. When we are brave enough to dare to tap into our soul and find our own purpose, there can't be any more depression. So that deep rest and those deep pressed thoughts that were stuck inside of me, not only did they make me an emotional and mental and spiritual wreck, they also made me a physical wreck, right? Because again, if we're like stuffing all of those emotions, you can end up with gastrointestinal issues, colon issues, like much more than depression. So
Yeah.
I found a way with God, and that did not include the society that I was trying to fit into and be that, as you mentioned, we known each other forever, like being in the sports museums or being in the papers every day, and the straight A, all of that stuff that I'm sure remember when we were kids, like I was doing that, not necessarily because I wanted it, it's because it was what I was supposed to do according to everybody else.
Yeah.
So when my knee went out and I could no longer do the things I loved or thought I loved, I was pretty wrecked, right? And but also there's protection in rejection. So I want to bring up to you, Trinell, if you remember like all those scholarship offers and stuff.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so one of them was Northridge. That's where I wanted to go. But do you remember that earthquake that hit Northridge?
Yep.
And specifically the women's softball dorm?
Messed it up.
So maybe all that pain and suffering and oh God, why me, poor me? What if that was the answer? Just to preserve me long enough until I did find my true path, right? So, given that time when you can look back, thankfully we're all older now at 25.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. 25.
yeah, right. So
Well, I'm
I
25
can
and a half.
25 and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just 25 in a day. 2 plus whatever. We're not going to math here, but I'm just saying, like, that completely disabled time, can't talk and walk, all I had was God and those thoughts and looking at the puzzle pieces. And even though I didn't have a lot of help, there were people saying, like, oh, here, let me coddle you, which again was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because, yeah, when you have a lot of distractions or help or enabling, then you don't really, it's not just you and God, right? So it became me and God, and that's when I became a little bit more comfortable just being me, like however imperfect. I wasn't trying to like please anyone or win more awards or get in another museum or any of that, right? I never wanted to be in the public eye. It was, I felt thrust into it. And then when I didn't have that, I didn't know who I was or what to do. And that's a little bit about my path. And I mean, I don't know your entire story, but I know that you have grown so much in these last years also with your disabilities. So, and disability, diffability, all it did was teach me to do things a different way. And look at you doing this. So, congratulations.
Appreciate you. And yet, it what you were going through, that's triggering too. When you already dealing with depression, that triggers when it took a while for you to get to where you're at now, but there was times where, the non-help, the so-called friends and buddies, people you helped out many times over, turn their back on you. And when you're dealing with depression, that's triggering, you know.
It was devastating. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't trying to make it look all pretty. I'm just saying the end result is better. And yeah, like high school and all those years and being RAPED by your so-called friends, and that wasn't fun. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but at the same time, like warriors have to have a difficult path, right? Like no superhero is just handed all the gifts and handed all the answers. We got to work for it. So for that, I'm grateful.
Yeah, yeah. Nixon, I know your story and what we deal with and what we talk about, being battles.
Right.
Share a little bit about, what you think on this and what she said too,
Well, just to reiterate on some of the things that she said, that God is the answer. Um, as my mom used to say to me, when it comes to life and the things that we deal with, she says, every road has a curve. So that means, to me, how we ride it, and then when we talk about people actually verbalizing their need for help and why they don't is because of the fact that they feel like no one is really or truly listening to what they have going on. It's just going through the motions and nodding and shaking their head and yep, yep, yep. But nobody's paying attention to the signs or any of the details of the things that are going on in somebody's life. Because it's significant. And if you really pay attention, you can see the change in people because their behavior changes, their demeanor changes, the way they walk, talk, eat. They show up at a certain time and do certain things. So we're not looking at that, but that makes us selfish. It makes people selfish because it's about me, 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 me.
Yeah.
But when we grasp the idea of the kind of unity that we're supposed to have as one family, will be better. So then finding God and your own purpose in life is the key. So then to reiterate on what Christy said, like, hey, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors.
Yeah.
So then there's a purpose for the things that we deal with because God knows that we can handle it. And everybody handles and does things in their own way to fit them. but then it's also the idea of people living to someone else's expectations of ourselves and not us living toward our own expectations. So we're trying to live our lives through the eyes of someone else and not through our own eyes. It's, everybody has their own path. Whether or
Yep.
not you choose to walk it or not,
That's the
that's your
thing.
decision. But you have to choose. You know, life is about choices and decisions. So we have to do better to be better. You know, I tell my daughter, I say, if you know better, you'll do
You
better.
do better.
So,
Exactly.
I mean, we know better, but then it doesn't mean like, you know, we don't, it's not the big things that people look for someone else to do. It's the little things, a word or two, a kind word or two,
Yeah. That means a
a,
lot.
a mere gesture carries a lot of weight for someone that's nowhere.
Hmm.
But then not everybody, but there are a lot of people that pride is their enemy. Got to swallow that pride because truly there's other things on the other side if we just let go and let God.
Yeah.
That's all we got to do.
And pride, you guys, watching on the platform, y'all hear me talk about this on Fridays. It took me close to like 14, 15 years to actually finally open up, right? Release that pride I had, that stigma of, you're a such and such, you're a Hicks. Hickses don't this, Hickses don't that, Hickses don't this, and just from everyone knowing who Trinell Hicks was, sports and athletics and the music and stuff, I was like Chrissy said, you touched on it too. These expectations, right? I call them generational curses, right? A lot of time parents want their child to live the life and achieve dreams that they didn't get to live and achieve. And they force it on their children. That's a lot of pressure, you know. Um, man, I've been dealing with, stuff, man, since forever, and like you were saying, ain't no testimony without a test, you know. And I believe that I'm going through what I'm going through. So my testimony is going to be real powerful when I beat this, and it's going to help someone else. And they're going to get to see God through me and God's work through me. So,
That's right.
I wanted to ask you though, everybody deal with it. Everyone has those moments, right? When you're in your head, when you just, the depression is right there on 10. Like, what's your mechanism? Maybe it'll help someone else, Um, I'm gonna say, what's up, Mr. Everywhere? Make sure you follow him, Patrick Phillips on Facebook. Follow his radio station, good brother right there. But yeah, how do you, bring yourself back? What are your mechanisms you use? Is it, some people read, some people, what helps you out in those type of moments? Go ahead, Nixon.
Well, I think for me is when I get to a point where I feel like I'm about to lose myself and stuff, I take myself a to my room and I just like calm myself down, and then I just meditate on the things that got me to that point to where I was going to lose myself. And then I think about the things, or I think about from where I came to where I am. And it's like when we look back, we look at the struggle from the back part of us, but we look at the progress in front of us.
Yeah, the
So
victory's in
then
front
it's,
of you.
that's right. So then looking back and looking forward, it's like I know where I've been and where I know where I am. So then it's like it resonates in me that like, hey, I have to keep pushing forward. Like hey, the devil can't have my joy ever. So then I keep marching forward and look at the promising days ahead.
That's right.
That's gonna make me better. And then I look at what God has blessed me with and the people that God blessed me to be around, to be in their life and to be in my life. That makes me better. So then that brings me to that calm, settled, relaxed individual.
That's right.
I know that's a
That's right.
lot, right?
Nah, that's good. Because,
No,
it's for the
because
listeners. Someone's going
no,
through
no,
something right now. You
right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right. Because I mean, listen, a lot of people are misconceived that, and I'm gonna say everybody, but there are some that believes that, hey, if I start drinking, that's gonna wash all my problems away, all my issues away. But when
Or
you
other
sober,
things.
yeah. So when you sober up, problem's still there.
Hmm.
It ain't went nowhere. It was vacationing right there until you got back to you, so it could get back to it. So until we face those fears, we face those problems, we face all of the things and struggles that we deal with, that's the only way we can better. We can be better.
Mm, mm. You know,
Nothing changes unless you make the change. It
yeah,
starts with you.
that's true. That's true. What you got to say, Chrissy?
So some of the things that helped me the most during my decades of depression was to go help other people, because then I could see that, yeah, right now in my own headspace, it's like the end of the world. But then, I mean, it's so easy to get into the boohoo thing. But, and I'm not trying to minimize anybody's pain, but I spent a lot of years there, decades there. So that's basically when I became a full time volunteer, helping
Mm,
homeless or older people, just anything I could do to take my mind off of it. I did try the alcohol and pills thing, that didn't work. And I didn't like how I acted, plus the side effects that came along with alcohol and things. So helping others made my heart fill with joy. However, there's a dark side to that too, because giving yourself and everything away is also a trauma response.
hmm.
So back then, I had no boundaries. And I'm still getting better at it. I'm not perfect at it. But when I mean, my answer to everything was yes, 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 there, yes, I'm there, yes, whatever you need, whatever. But then I ended up depleted, which of course led to my 6.5 years of homelessness and zero income. And I was a little naive. I just thought you get back what you give, or if I selflessly do whatever, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So and that was for me. That's not on them. They have their own path. And my path was to realize that, because a lot of that trauma response and giving everything away, we think that if we're everything to everyone, then, oh, they're going to love us. And that's what I was seeking, right? So it wasn't until I met real God, thankfully, in my disability, that I realized I actually was doing God a disservice. Like I was literally disrespecting my temple by giving it all away to everybody else, and then just again ended up depleted, not accomplishing my own goals or doing anything that I had to do. And then I blamed them, right? When I was the one that made the decision to use that trauma response to assist. So once I matured a little bit and found a little bit of give and take and decided that, you know what, I'm worth it. And I need to start loving myself in the way I thought I should be loved, then that meant that I had to be accountable for how I was feeling and why I was feeling that way. Right. So, of course, it all went back to me. And that's not to take away all the other, life happens, right? It's not
Yep.
easy for anybody. But I just started, from our sports days, I'm sure you can relate. I started to look at it as like a challenge. Like, okay, so, well, they say I can't do this, but damn it, I'm going to show you wrong.
Right.
So
Right.
then it became more fun. And then I got to learn my own sense of accomplishment, like on my own terms. And those little baby steps, just simply making a better choice for the day, however little it was. Like, sure, I could go to the bar and hang out with my fake friends that are never there when I'm having surgery or aren't there when I can't walk or whatever. I could do that, or I could make a better choice and make some juice or some ginger lemon tea or eat a healthy meal and start working on my biochemical reaction. And of course, that led to me looking at diet and food, all of these things that were poisoned within society. And so that became the challenge. Well,
Yeah.
this isn't working. Let's just try something different. And I was in it to win it because, I mean, nobody really cared. Like, I could have died back then and nobody would have even known, right? I wasn't even online. I was completely erased. And truthfully, in the first several years, I was just trying to find a safe, beautiful place to die. And that's where my hashtag Fro Died Here came from, that accidentally led to my pictures ending up in galleries, which of course gave me a whole new hope. Like, whoa, okay, the world isn't against me. Maybe I was just in the wrong places and not looking at the right things, right?
Mm.
And I get it. We all want the magic pill, the easy way out, right? We're too busy with life, children, jobs, everything. But I literally made healing my number one priority. And it was ugly. It was messy. Last time I was with you in San Diego, I'm sure that was a little ugly and messy. I was barely walking. I was in pain all the time. I'm sure I was crying all the time. And I probably still thought even then that there was no way out. But then, as you mentioned, God, Nixon, like, I learned to surrender and what true surrender was. So, you know what? It's not my problem. Leave it at the foot of the cross and just see what happens. Tomorrow's another day. Give myself the rest I need. And I swear, every single time, even to today, when I just let it go, and I know it's difficult, I'm not trying to make it sound, but when I let whatever so called problem go, like, God just stepped in and fixed it. It was like, whoa. And of course, you want more of that, right? So that was kind of my journey. And
Mm.
I realized that if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. I was doing basically everything out of a sense of obligation for others. And I wasn't able to speak my own needs and also trauma response. I was looking in all the wrong places, right? Like, oh, well, this person in my family or whoever, whatever, is a psychopath. So I was attracted to psychopaths on every level and thinking, well, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me is that I'm not seeing the patterns and I'm not brave enough to say no. So when I learned to say no, that's when things started turning around for me. I said yes to what fills my heart. If it doesn't feel good, if it leaves me feeling anxious on any level, then that's a hard no.
Yeah, yeah, and it's about also learning from all that stuff too. You know, you all the ups and downs of life, all the speed bumps you go through. I always say, you know, who you gonna, what are you gonna learn, and who are you gonna help? You know,
Right.
and that's how it should go. We got Joanne Wardley saying hello, Christy.
Hello. Aw.
My man Demi Dago, Demi God, he might be right next in the other room. But he said comparison is the thief of joy. You can't think about what was and who has done what. Live in the now and do what is beneficial for your mind space now. Don't compare, just live presently. Man, you're right. You're right.
That's right.
Mr.
Facts.
Everywhere, Patrick Phillips said we have to build our faith accounts in order to withdraw our blessings. Amen. You know,
Good one.
and I'm gonna let y'all know we're doing it a little different. I usually open up the line for the call-ins, but we're gonna wait till we're gonna do it at the end. So remember the conversations and make sure you have what you want to talk about when you call in. But yeah, you know, these type of platforms, you know, a lot of people feel safer on them talking. You know, and I met so many people through this the journey once I started doing the Friday night chop up and just being transparent, right? Um, it was easier for me. I've been through therapies. I've done all kind of stuff. You know, Nixon, you know how the military, the VA will have you going through all kind of things,
Yes,
try
sir.
not to pay you. But you know, I've been through it, but I learned so much in them, and it helped me out to realize, like I said, you know, I messed up relationships. I messed up and friendships, romantic relationships, business relationships. I messed up a lot. And it took all them years in the therapy and me being real with myself to realize it was me. I was the problem, right? And now I realize that. And it's about growing. What are you going to learn, right? And
See,
doing
it
the
goes
things
back
that
to
I
what I
do.
just said,
And
right?
it goes back. Y'all both are touching up
It
on it,
goes,
you know?
yeah, it goes back to that. If you know better, you do better.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but
then
you
you
know,
knew better, so now you're doing better.
yeah, now, you know,
Yeah,
hindsight
I
where
love
you could have
that
2020.
been
you
stuck.
say that, Nixon, because that's like my favorite thing. I'm like, if you know better, do better. Like, why
Yeah,
aren't you? And it really is that simple. If you don't
yeah.
know, I get
I
it.
mean,
You're doing your best. But when you do know, change
yeah,
that.
that's
And,
right.
and and that causes, you know, some people the PTSD in it, right? Because you being depressed. You know, PTSD, I tell everyone, and a lot of people for a long time thought it was just for if you had military, you have PTSD. But no, anybody could have PTSD, any
Hmm.
race, any gender, any
That's right.
PTS doesn't discriminate, you know, and it's just
That's
either
right.
witnessing or experiencing a traumatic event, right? And that triggers the depression, and or if you're already depressed, it probably caused by some PTSD that's untreated. I say a lot of people walking around with untreated medical conditions, right? Mental conditions too, right? Because they don't want to open up. They don't want to, you know, put that pride to the side and talk.
That's
Because
right.
as men, we feel like, you know, you don't want to be look weak towards anyone. You
we
don't want
don't be.
nobody to
We don't
think
want to
you're
be
weak,
vulnerable.
you know, and be vulnerable. But when you let all
Yeah,
that go, you know, like Chrissy was saying, you know, you let go. You know, when you let go, give it all to God. You know, um, and let Him handle it. You know, the word say, let worry about today for tomorrow. Worry about today because tomorrow already worried about itself, right?
yeah. I mean,
So
being vulnerable is that's when the true healing begins. When you're not afraid to be vulnerable in any situation about any situation. But the more you keep it to yourself, then the more the depression eats at you, the anxiety gets at you, and then it turns into the hey,
you you dropped the what are they called, earbuds? You dropped them and muted yourself. Let me see if I can unmute you. Yeah, you got to unmute yourself on the screen. There you go.
There.
There you go.
What the heck? Did you take my buds off?
Yeah, once they fail, maybe put them in now. Tomorrow never comes. You right, Joanne. You're right. Tomorrow never comes.
Right. That's true. Oh, I'll do it
I
when I
like
feel better. I'll do that when such and
right.
such else happens. I'll do that when I'm finally somebody approves of me. No, tomorrow never comes. Such a great statement.
Yep. Real good one. Nixon, your sound was let me see if it's better. You're muted. You gotta unmute you hitting the thing on
I
the
did.
earbuds. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
I do that all the time too. That's why I don't wear them anymore
No, they.
when I do this.
What the hell that
You,
says that the freaking? I know you lying.
you went dark. But yeah, I want to open it. We're gonna open the lines up, y'all. You know, 3-minute max, y'all. 3-minute max. You can call in now. Let me open the lines up, and then I'll post the number. Where are we at? Let me. The phone lines are now up. If you want to call in, please 3-minute max. The phone number 619-720-1775. But yeah, like I was saying, the depression triggers. And you were saying something before you went mute on us, dropping stuff.
I wasn't dropping nothing. My dang earbud died. I was trying to
Okay.
swap over.
Yeah, again, the phone lines are up if you guys want to call in. Somebody want to call in. 619-720-1775. You know. I just think about, like when I was working for the school district at the high school, and I was teaching at night at UEI College, network technology, and that was probably some of the most hardest days and times of my life. But no one knew, right? You walk around with that smile on your face, trying to be what everyone wants you to be, but inside it's killing you. I went through all that through high school, elementary school, everything, right? And you just get trained to do that and put your self feelings aside. And like you said, when you are out there trying to help everyone, putting all your energy into that, and you're neglecting self, right? That self-care, that self-love. You only want to do what everyone expects you, so you don't let them down, so it doesn't mess with you even more. And I was going through all that, and it took a while, and it took me being able to do this. This really helps me out. By putting it out there, I got to hold myself accountable to things I say and do. Can't just talk it, got to walk it. And
That's
like
right.
these conversations helped a lot of people. They reach out to me, they let me know, and maybe they'll come on one day and tell their story. Some have, and it's just
It's one day at a time.
That's it.
One situation at a time. We have to take baby steps. Can't jump all the way in it until you're comfortable.
Yeah.
So when we baby walking with it, we progress, slowly progress into our own situation, our own worth.
Yep.
So then when you're stronger in this one spot, then you can take the next 2 steps and get comfortable in the next 2 steps until your steps turns into a stride. And your stride turns into a full up jog. And then the jog turns into a run.
There it is.
So then we got to start somewhere.
So
for me, and I can speak for me, my life starts with me. So in order for me, again, and I say this a lot, in order for me, and I can just use like being a father, in order for me to be a better parent, I got to be a better me. So my kid's life begins with my life
Yep.
because what I do, they'll do. If they see me doing something a certain way, and they mimic the same thing.
That's true.
Teach one, reach one, right?
Hey, one at a time, man. At least, it takes, you got to get one before you can get two.
That's right.
We got another comment. I'm going to say F you, me first,
Good.
because if I'm not well, I can't help anyone else. Me for a
Yeah.
while,
Like,
starting now.
love
Yeah.
yourself the way
Huh?
you would love your child or your grandma or your bestie or, right? And that took a lot of work for me to get there because it just felt so foreign, like, yeah, how do I do that? Well, what would I do for my puppy? What would I do? Right? So if we can like put ourselves, okay, so if this was my daughter, what would I do? Would I draw her a bath? Would I make her some chicken soup? Would I, you know? And I just, Trinell, I wonder, like, it's so crazy that we were like besties growing up and like hung out every day in high
Yep.
school and after and weekends. And it wasn't until 2015, or what was it, 17, or that time when I was with you back in San Diego. And you and I had found out things about each other that was going on then
Right.
that we did not know. Like, so I never would have thought for a minute that you had any emotional disturbances or turmoil or anything. And I just think how sad that is, or what life would look like if we grew up feeling safe, being vulnerable, and saying, all right, sister, this is how it really is.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and I feel bad. I feel terrible that all these people that were our friends that I wasn't even really like there for. I was caught up in my own drama and faking and pretending because I got to make everybody happy or hit the stupid headlines again or whatever. Like, I don't know, but I do sometimes imagine like a past where we were all open and like I knew. I mean, how shocking, like 25 years later, I
Yeah.
have to find out things that I should have known about you then and vice versa. Like, which of course gave me a whole new respect and appreciation for you and your path, right? But I'm pretty sure that if we felt safe to be vulnerable sooner, that we all could have helped each other more. And I mean, you guys in the military, I cannot even imagine like the level of fakeness that you would have to keep up for your fellow men, right? Like,
To be your
and
soldier.
then sleeping, right. And so I'm just so like normally when people interview me or have it's always like women, because it's acceptable for women to be crazy or depressed or all of that. So I just applaud you guys, and I think it is so beautiful to see beautiful, healthy men talking about real life, getting vulnerable, sharing their feelings, their tips, and I just think you Trina, look better than I've seen you in decades.
I'm feeling
So I could
better.
tell
Yeah.
you're doing the work, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Have to.
You got
I
your
have to.
glow back, baby.
I have to. I still got more life to live. I'm not ready to quit. You know. Um, Deal with things like everyone else. Deal with the depression, anxiety. PTSD, medical issues. But I'm not going to let that hinder me. Like I say on my post, cancer just only makes me only makes me want to grind harder. That's why I'm back in school. That's why I'm back doing the workout. That's mind, body, and soul. You know, mind, body, and soul. Um, what you got to say before we get up out of here? Because y'all know I'm here for a good time, not a long time. It's Friday night. Y'all could have been anywhere else in the world doing whatever you wanted to do, but y'all spent some time commenting, tapping in. Every Friday y'all do this, and I appreciate you. You know, I know some of y'all want to go to the club or something. So be safe. Nixon, I'm gonna let you go first. Any last words? Are you're not muted? There you go. You hear me? Nixon having issues. Go ahead, Christy. Let them know. About if they, how to get some of your healing tinctures and stuff you have. Let them know you got the last words.
Well, I'm the creator of Ozark's Church of Nature and Magical Food Forest. This was birthed from my decades of trauma and trying to find a new way. So now I get to provide that sacred peace and healing for others. I grow hundreds of medicinal herbs that are unmatched. I ain't trying to sell or anything like that, but I am always happy to help people. My herbs are definitely far superior because I'm not regulated, right? So like a tincture from me, you only need 3 drops, whereas the health food store ones, they're like 2 to 3 dropperfuls 3 times a day. I think that's a waste. So, and I don't know. I don't know how to promote myself. I don't want to do that, but I'm Christy Aphrodite, ChristyAphrodite.com, myteressence.net. I would rather give information about my expertise, which is herbs, and there are many things that can help. Of course, this is not medical advice. I don't give anybody suggestions on what herbs to take unless I know their history, because herbs can and will sometimes react negatively with certain medications. So if you're like, oh, what can I take for this? I'm not your girl, but I will help you find the root and find something super effective. There is a thing called orthomolecular psychology, and that's basically based on the premise that when your minerals are in balance, then your mental and emotional health is a lot easier to, say, maintain or control. And a lot of it, yes, we've all been traumatized to some degree, but also things that we can take responsibility for that will help are better diet or things like that. And diet isn't just your food or your drinks, it's what you're consuming on the TV, on the radio, in your friend circle, in your all of these situations. So if you are interested in superior herbs for every need, there's hundreds of different things at myteressence.net. I'm on Facebook, Ozark's Church of Nature, and all of that stuff. But I ain't here to pimp. I just want to help.
I hear the pimp.
We got a call. I missed the call, so we're gonna have a caller before we have you. Now that your volume is working now, Nixon.
We got Nixon back.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm back in the booth.
Okay, here we go, caller. 1 second. Caller, state your name. Where you calling from?
Yeah, I hope that you can hear me okay. My name's Kevin. I'm driving right now. Does it sound okay?
How you doing, Jeff?
Kevin.
Kevin. Oh, there you go. You're driving. I couldn't hear. Did y'all hear the name?
I just want to make sure it's okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure it's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just was going to like quickly just play the devil's advocate for.
What happened?
Give you these pills, you know?
Yeah.
And they seem to be working. So, you know, why wouldn't I just take the pills and deal with depression? Because there's no way out of it.
You're right. You're right. Are you a veteran by chance?
I am.
Okay, because, you know, us veterans, Nixon could attest to it too. You know, you go into the VA for a headache and leave out of there with 15 different prescriptions, you know?
Right.
They got a pill for everything. And you're right, that poison, everything's poison and harmful to us.
Right, so it just makes it easy to make an excuse.
Exactly. Christy, you got anything you want to add to it before the caller goes?
I didn't hear everything he said. I don't know if it cut out for you. I just kind of heard the beginning and the end. So if there was a question or something in there in between,
no question.
I'd love to hear it.
Just why wouldn't I just be able to make an excuse because I'm poisoned? I can't overcome the poisoning that I'm getting, you know. So how do I overcome all this societal poisoning?
So if God is with you and for you, who can stand against you? Like,
Amen.
I thought like over a decade, probably 3 decades, that I was literally here just to suffer and die. But I didn't know real God. I thought I knew like church gods, you know, which real God I think is a little bit bigger. So when I realized that there's no God that is going to send somebody down just to suffer and without purpose, I made that my mission to find out why I was here, what I was doing, and the pills did not help me. If they help others, that is super awesome. But for me, they literally made me suicidal. So I had to trust God. God is bigger than a pill. God is bigger than a food. God is bigger than a chemtrail or a poison or anything, a smart meter, right? Like, so I had to learn true faith and live with just that and see. And thankfully, God showed me how wrong I was. And I just know that if I could make it through being the lowest of the low, that anybody can. And I had to trust. Like, I knew that the pills weren't making me feel good, but I was still listening to all the experts and doing what they said anyways. So when I gave it to God, those had to go in the trash because I had to trust my still small voice within. This isn't working for me. Then you show me what you want from me. So that's what I did.
You still there, Kevin?
Did you join sports?
Okay. Yes. He asked, did you play any sports?
No, did you join a church?
Oh, did you join a church, he said. It's hard to...
Me? Oh, I joined a few. I've been church hopping my whole life. But no, church for me didn't help. People in churches did. But yeah, I never really actually got help from a church.
Yeah, we lost Kevin. His
Oh,
phone, his
cool. No
call
more
dropped.
hard
But yeah,
questions then.
yeah. I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you calling in. Um, Savannah said this has been an awesome talk. Good to find this channel. Joanne said I trashed them today. So
Yeah, I
makes
mean,
it.
taking pills. I mean, if you think about it, when you're taking pills, the side effects of the pill is worse than what you're treating. So then it's most I won't say most, all pharmaceutical companies believe that it's better to treat
Mhm.
symptoms than to cure them because that's how they get paid. So the more that they're feeding us pills, the richer they're getting. So they're just sustaining it for the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's being fixed. They just,
No,
like you
How
said,
crazy
just
is
treating it.
it?
we're putting that
Right.
band-aid on it.
Hmm.
It's worse than that, though, honestly, because how crazy is it to give, okay, hi, you're depressed. Here, let me give you something that makes you suicidal. That'll fix you. Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of these black box warning drugs, I was on as a teenager. I didn't know till 20 years later
Hmm.
that, oh, that's why I want to kill myself all the time. Like, my
Hmm.
soul knew. Like, my soul, my heart was screaming no, but I didn't know any other way. And so I just did what all the so called human experts told me.
Yeah.
That's
We
because
see.
all the warning label, the lettering and on
Mm-mm.
there
You can't even
is
read it.
micro. So they
Right,
figure, well, if it ain't big enough, they won't read it, but we'll put
Hmm.
it on there anyway. But
right,
we're gonna charge you $300 a bottle.
right,
So
Exactly.
then it's just like an addiction.
right. And then when you
They want you
tell
to
them
need
it
it.
doesn't make you feel good, then they give you another pill
Right.
and tell you you're crazy. So you're like gaslighted into oblivion. So yeah, it wasn't fun. I don't wish it on anybody, but I just hope if anybody is listening who is going through it right now that we have showed you that there is hope.
Hey, exactly. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And remember, it's okay to be not okay.
That's right.
Yes.
It's not, it's not okay to stay that way. So, find something. For me, dealing with the diabetes and the cancer, I had a whole bunch of medication they wanted me to take. But for me, and I tell you guys this, find your why. Find your why and make that a priority for yourself, And I'm not taking all that medication. I changed things that needed to be changed in my life. And I'm not messing with Western medication, you know.
Yay.
So,
Well, that's the thing. 95% of all of the things, in my opinion, that we deal with is the things that we allow into our body.
yeah,
So
yeah,
then when you change your eating habit and you change your exercise or any of those things that are effective, that will work. But because when we get so comfortable in doing those things that we're used to doing,
hmm,
then we forget about the things that are meaningful and that will help us because that's the easy way of doing things. So we got to get back on track and take control of our lives one day at a time.
exactly, exactly. Hey, I want to have y'all on here again. Well, this is good. This is good, and it was a nice conversation with y'all. I appreciate both of you guys being on. I know it's a little late where y'all at. Almost 8 here, so it's almost 10 your time. We got another. Oh, I see you, Dead Wolf Resistance 13. We need to stop calling it Western medicine.
What up, Deadwolf?
We need to stop calling it Western medicine. Yeah. Well,
Trinell, I just have to say thank you for not being mad at me all those years on Facebook where I'm like, get off those pills, go to real dog, So thank you for not being mad, and I am just blown away at how much you've progressed and how you had the strength to just like see and make changes. Yeah, you got your glow back, man.
Hey, you can teach an old dog new tricks. So don't believe you can't. You can. I'm living
That's right.
proof. I
But we're only
appreciate you guys.
25.
Yeah, we're only, well, I'm 25 and a half. You're 25 in the day.
Well, damn, this an old dog, ain't it?
It's
It's an old fucking dog, ain't it? It's an old dog, ain't it? I'm just saying. I don't know.
Fire cooking. Y'all take, oh, okay. Y'all take care out there. A fire cooking. Am I reading that right? Y'all take care out there. Hey,
He's
I appreciate it.
Badass, like a master at like knife throwing and like right hand, left hand. Just he's pretty cray. I wouldn't want to get in a fight with him.
Oh, I thought you was talking about you throwing knives. What?
Oh, no.
Not you. I was talking about Christy throwing knives. I thought you was talking about that.
Not me.
Like, what the fudge?
Hey. Again, I appreciate everybody on Kick, on Instagram still, on Facebook, on YouTube. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Joanne, Deadwolf Resistance. I see y'all on here. I appreciate you guys. Savannah, Demi Dago, I appreciate you. Mr. Everywhere, Patrick Phillips, K9, my man K9 Compton, and Little Mo Swagger. I appreciate you guys tapping in. Hey, you guys, I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna need y'all on again. Everyone else, I'll see y'all next week on Wednesday. We got the Wednesday night chop up. I appreciate y'all. It's your big homie Trey Boogie. I holla.
F&G shit. Shout out to
big homie Trey Boogie.
We slide. Sliding in the rental, trying to run a milli up. In the southeast, Trey Boogie been a plug. Rubber bands on the blues, hella panoramic views. If you get into it with the squad, you can never lose. It's on the flow like Yellow Rider. I got your vibe on her toes like nail polish. In the city, we get respected from everybody. You about to pull up on Trey Boogie, now let's chop it. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Got it wet, it's not a cut. Ain't worried about what nobody else got, cause I got enough. Me and Trey Boogie locked in, he threw a lob, I dunk. Heard the beat and sauced it up, can't nobody go hard as us. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up.